If you listen, you may just hear the sound of Europe's energy future. No, it's not the cows, it's what lies below them. Hello, and a warm welcome to the PATRIZIA Podcast. I'm Greg Langley from Corporate Communications. The aim of our podcast is to bring you news and information on a range of hot topics that are important to PATRIZIA. Industry trends, key business developments, and important strategic decisions. All delivered to you as personal stories with interesting insights, giving you a chance to get to know some members of our team better. And, we hope, inspiring you in your own work. Today we're talking about green energy. Since the early 1970s, the caverns lying deep below the village of Etzel have stored emergency supplies of oil and gas for Belgium, Germany and the Netherlands. A project about to kick off in Etzel is an important test of Europe's ability to become a hydrogen-based economy. To explain the significance of the Etzel project, I'm joined today by Boris Richter, Managing Director of Storage Etzel, the company that operates the caverns, Kilian Mahler from PATRIZIA, who manages the funds that own the cavern business, and finally, David Bote, a director at Frontier Economics and an expert in energy markets and climate change. Boris, few people would have ever heard of Etzel. What makes the place so significant?
Thanks, Craig. Indeed, Etzel is a quite small town located southwest of Wilhelmshaven, the only deep water harbor we have in Germany. We have the largest energy resources in Northwest Europe. And the Etzel story began in the 70s when the Federal Republic of Germany decided to store the strategic reserve of crude oil in this region. Nowadays, we have the strategic reserves of Germany located here in Etzel, also from the Netherlands, from Belgium, in total more than 10 million cubic meters. The second big development was in the early 2000s when we had here a huge development project, building more than 50 caverns for storage of gas. So nowadays we have here a perfect infrastructure. We have on the one hand deep water harbor for oil and gas. We have pipeline access to Norway, to UK, to the Netherlands, but also the pipeline connection to supply gas all over Germany.
So Kilian, what's special about Etzel for storing oil and gas?
In Etzel, there's a huge salt dome, which is 1,000 meters below the surface. It's 17 kilometers long and 5 kilometers wide. This salt dome offers the possibility to develop caverns for the storage of oil and gas.
So what makes salt so good for storing liquids and gases?
Salt is a fantastic material. It's possible to store gas with a pressure up to 200 bars in a cavern, and if a crack will arise, it closes itself. Furthermore, we have underground safety valves which are 50 meters below the surface, and if an accident happens above the ground, then the safety valves close. So storage in a cavern is safe.
And the caverns are man-made, not natural.
Yes, that's right. Caverns are developed by leaching or washing out salt from the salt dome using the nearby seawater. It takes up to 3 years to create a new cavern.
Boris, Etzel's about to undergo a third development. Can you explain what this is and why it is so important?
I think all of us agree that we can only achieve net zero CO2 emission by 2050 if we swing away from oil, gas, and coal. We need a substitute for hydrocarbons. One option is hydrogen. I think it's also the most promising option. And the crucial question is really how to build up such an infrastructure as we have currently for oil and gas, for hydrogen. Infrastructure means import terminals, pipelines, storage, tanking, cavern capacities. And the beauty of coming hydrogen economy is that we can utilize existing oil and gas infrastructure for hydrogen. We want to demonstrate here in Etzel that it's possible to transform the infrastructure of the old oil and gas economy to our hydrogen economy.
David, you've got years of experience in the energy markets and in terms of climate change. How significant is this project?
This project is really focusing on one of the key remaining ingredients to make the energy transition successful, which is we need long-term, large volume storage for renewable energy. So the key challenge from an energy system point of view to meet the Paris target to limit global warming below 2 degrees is that we have to switch our energy system to 100% renewable energy. And this is known only in the electricity sector, but also for the heating sector, for transport, etc. There are many studies who have analyzed how such an energy system running with 100% wind and solar power can be designed. While they all differ in the details, one key outcome of all of these studies is that we have to have some form of chemical energy carriers in the system. So we have to convert renewable energy from wind and solar electricity into chemical molecules which we can store. And hydrogen is one of the easiest way, or the first step in all of these various processes.
David, we've got this crazy situation in Germany where there's windy days where the turbines are spinning madly, but they can't use all the energy, so they turn them off. Will this project solve that problem?
You can do electrolysis. You take water and electricity and split the water into its component, which is hydrogen and oxygen. This hydrogen can later be either burned directly and used as an energy carrier, or it can be reconverted back to electricity. But the interesting thing is that in this form of hydrogen as a gas, you can store it quite easily. And that makes it so important, because the challenge with renewable electricity is that you don't really know when it will be available. And particularly with the heating sector, a lot of our energy demand is concentrated in winter. So we have to find ways to store the renewable energy in large volumes for a significant period of times. And hydrogen is ideal for this.
Boris, at what stage is the project?
We have started an R&D project here on site in Etzel. And as mentioned, the challenge is to transform the existing infrastructure from the oil and gas industry for a future hydrogen economy. We want to demonstrate as a first project in an industrial scale that we can store hydrogen in caverns. And we want to demonstrate that the entire infrastructure is available, and we can transform them from oil and gas into hydrogen future. So we will look to the cavern subsurface, but also to the above ground facilities we have. And also what is, I think, as important to look to the acceptance of our society. So we have to look to the health and safety under hydrogen regime. And all this we are assessing. The project has a duration of 3 to 4 years, and we want to do an in situ testing that it's possible. So together with our partners, and that we are capable to deliver and to fulfill our infrastructure function in the value chain of hydrogen.
David, if this project is successful, how significant will it be?
If it's successful, I think this Etzel project would pave the way for many commercial hydrogen storage projects to follow, because the general aim is to create a hydrogen backbone across Europe, which is reflected both in the EU's hydrogen strategy and all the various national and regional hydrogen strategies. This system should link the production sites, the points of imports, the demand region for hydrogen, pretty similar to what the currently natural gas system does. But as with natural gas today, such an integrated hydrogen system would require vast amount of storage capacity to ensure that we have a reliable security of supply. And similar as for natural gas today, Etzel would be in an ideal position to deliver a significant share of these flexibilities from its caverns.
And if by some chance it fails?
If we can't find a way to store large amount of renewable energy in any form, then we will run into huge problems moving our whole system to 100% renewable energy. All research point that hydrogen storage is the only economic option at the horizon. So the hopes are high that this project will succeed.
Kilian, why is this project so important to PATRIZIA?
Storac, Etzel and PATRIZIA have a lot of experience with caverns. Now it's time for the next step. PATRIZIA and Storac have the chance to convert a storage facility for oil and gas into an asset for storing renewable energy and become a front runner in that field. We expect that a sustainable business model can be created, which increases the value for our investors.
I'd like to thank Boris, Kilian and David for joining us today on the PATcast and for helping us understand the significance of this project. It could play a significant role in the business plans of PATRIZIA, but it could also play a significant role in society and achieving a low-carbon future. I hope you've enjoyed this PATcast. We're really keen to hear what you think. So please get in touch with any comments or questions via our email address communications@patrizia.ag. If you'd like to listen again, you can find this episode on our pin. Thank you for listening and stay safe and healthy.